Now, today we get to listen to Christion Sadler. We get to learn from him. And it was an exciting event for everyone on this last weekend, Utah, that attended the Utah regional trainings. We got to listen to Christion, and he talked about success. It was really awesome. It was very motivating. He said that the best way to serve the people around us is to succeed. What an awesome concept that is. Whether it's serving each other in Renatus, whether it's serving our friends, our relatives, the people that we come in contact with, remember that 3-foot rule. It's so valuable. But the best way to serve them all is to succeed. Christion knows a little bit about success. From the beginning, in his real estate and Renatus education, he has surrounded himself with people who were successful, his mentors, his partners, the other students that he's brought on board. And he's made a strong name for himself as a true leader in Team Renatus, as well as in the marketplace. He's got a strong passion for business. He's able to share that passion in multiple business networking and referral groups that he's organized. And as I mentioned last week, something that really connected with me, Christion has learned that possessions can come and go, but it's the relationships you build in life that really hold true value. Christion, we're grateful to have you with us today. We're excited to hear what you've got to tell us. Take it away, sir.
Awesome, Ron. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Let me give you the controls, and we're here to get this started. There we go.
All right. Thank you so much, Ron, for everything that you do, and really appreciate you always being here to start these calls off. Looks like we do have somebody off mute. If you guys could make sure you're all on, that would be great. I'll give you just a minute to mute yourselves out. All right, perfect. So, Ron, again, I thank you for what you're doing here, and I love the money matrix, throwing that on at the beginning. That's a great way to start the day for everybody. Folks, we have somebody off mute. Let me scroll and see if I can figure out who it is here. And that way I can mute you. Oh, that's not it. All right, let's see. How do I mute? Right here we are. Ah, thank you. Looks like somebody was able to mute them. Okay, folks, let's jump into this. Here's what I wanted to cover today. So I had Nick Young. I was hanging out with Nick Young yesterday. We've got a project going on in Cottonwood Heights, and you know, it's all coming back together. It's a lot of fun and excitement in real estate and seeing that. And I was grateful because he turned to me. He had gotten a message from one of his Facebook contacts, and what he did was he turned to me and he said, "How would you answer this?" And it was a simple question of something like, "Hey, do you still do real estate?" He said, "Every day. What's on your mind?" And then this warm market contact, this Facebook friend of his, said, I want to get cash flowing rentals. And why I'm glad Nick asked me before he said anything is, when he asked me, he said, "How do I turn this into an invite?" And I know that a lot of people, when they have anybody show any amount of interest, when you're new especially, you want to jump right into the invite. You want to, jump right to, "Hey, why don't you come down on Thursday night? Oh, I can show you how to do that." And I will tell you that from experience, and still I keep learning this lesson, even recently, if you jump right to the invite, if you seem too eager, you usually will push people away. So I'm going to pull up my Facebook page and share kind of just a basic idea of when a warm market contacts me, some of the questions that I might ask, right? Because this is the key to and the difference between whether you get the invite, whether you get somebody truly interested, or whether they don't show up at all. All right, let's see. So on Tuesday, right here, Tuesday, James, actually, can I blow this up somehow? Let me do this. Messenger, pull it up here, make it a little bit bigger for you guys. All right, so on Tuesday, James reached out to me. Now, James is a friend of mine from all the way back in junior high school. And, with him, he's reached out to me in the past because he's a handyman and, for different work and different things. But on Tuesday, he sent me this message. He said, "Good morning, Chris. I'm writing you because I'm very interested in trying to work side by side with you one day. Maybe go to some of your classes or whatever it takes. Nothing really particular because I'm not sure what to expect, but I'm good with my hands too. HVAC certified, licensed painter, and pretty much the ins and outs of maintenance. My long-term goal is to flip houses, really. So I'm just trying to figure out some avenues. Any advice would be great. Thanks for your time. Hope to hear back from you soon." So if you think about that, obviously he said all the great things that we would want to hear that show he's interested in what we have. Now, I could have jumped straight to an invite, but I know from experience and from the past that if I jump to an invite, quite frankly, they usually disappear or they don't show up or they're less likely. And so I said, yeah, man, let's talk about it. How much do you have, or how much time do you have to put towards learning? So now I'm qualifying him, right? And I'm showing you this because I want you to understand that even with warm market that's showing interest in your business, you want to have them qualifying for your time rather than you qualifying for their time. And so he said, any chance that I can get, really, I'm just ready for a change and a challenge worth working towards. I said, what's your daily schedule currently? He said, typically 8 to 3. Things been super slow lately though. It's more like noonish, which is killing me. Whatever free time, I'm totally down. I said, how's your credit? Not the best right now, but I've been looking into rebuilding it. I said, have you had a chance to set aside any funds to start your business? Are you guys seeing the theme here? I'm finding out where he's at, whether he's, a good fit, whether he's, really serious, whether he's got resources. He says, I haven't, I wish. Things have just been tight. Definitely a must though, considering I'm mostly subcontracting and they pay weekly, but take out a percentage. I said, no problem, man. I just want to get to know where you're at so we know where to start. Where are you living now? And then he told me, I said, are you available tomorrow evening to meet my team? We're getting together in Sandy at 7 p.m. Sounds great. Let's do it. Cool. What's your phone number and email address? We'll be at the Salt Lake City campus at Gil Miller Conference Center, 9750 South, 300 West, Sandy, Utah. And then let me move my controls here. He says, I'll be there. Thank you so much. So this is just a simple conversation, right? A simple conversation. Now, the same thing happened with Cassandra, I believe, as well. So with her, I switched to let's just get on the phone. So she said, hey, Christian, I saw a post of yours last week, and I've been and have seen several of your posts about what you do with real estate. I've always been interested. I woke up this morning thinking about that post last week, and I have the eagerness to learn more about it. I have always been interested in learning real estate, and I think it's time to dip into my curiosity. I live in Boise, and I'm not even sure how we became friends. My sister is a mutual friend. We could chat. Here's my email address. Thanks. And I said, hey, Cassandra, when's a good time for us to get on the phone? I have time all week between 12 and 2 or after 6. I said, okay, perfect. What's a good number to reach you on? So I'll be plugging her in out in Idaho, right? And then another post that I can share with you. So let me switch over to Alexis, because she's not necessarily the one that I connected with as much, but let me see if I can get to her profile somehow. I know there's a way to do this right here. So Alexis shared recently right here, question for all you homeowners. With my home loan, I'm at 3.2 interest rate, which is amazing, but I'm on FHA loan, paying mortgage insurance, which is wasting money. Would it make sense to refinance to drop the mortgage insurance, but be at a higher interest rate? I've been told anywhere from 4.2 to 4.5 help. So I answered this. Scroll down here and show you. Where's my comment at? All right. So I said right here, I'm going to send you a PM. There are other bank products than mortgages that are way more beneficial to the consumer rather than the bank. You could literally pay it off at a third of the time without increasing your income. And so then Lorena, who I'm not connected with, saw my comment on Alexis's post, and she said, sorry, I was just reading this thread because my husband and I often wonder the same thing. Would you mind sending me more info as well? So she sent me an email, or she gave me her email address there, and I said, yeah, sure thing. But then I sent her a personal message. Now, she hasn't responded to that, so it might be in her other messages. It might not have shown up for her yet, so I'll probably send her an email as well. In fact, why don't we just do that right now, right? I just want to show you guys the process of, a way to connect with people via Facebook or whatever way that they reach out to you. Just remember, if somebody sends you a text or whatever it is, you want to lead with questions. So let's say mortgage question, Facebook, and then I'll say, hey, Lorena. Oops, what did I spell wrong here? Hey, Lorena, you reached out to me via Facebook about your mortgage on Alexis's post. Tell me a little about your situation, period. All right, so very simply, I'm not going to jump into, hey, let me send you this information and all this stuff on velocity banking. Instead, I'm going to just start the conversation, right? I want to start and have the conversation and go from there. So that's just a little bit that I wanted to share with you guys on, if somebody reaches out to you via Facebook or via messages or whatever it is, remember not to seem too eager, because what happens is when you seem too eager, then somebody thinks it gives the feeling, right? It gives the feeling that you're going to benefit more than they are. It gives the feeling that you're trying to sell them on something. It gives the feeling that you're trying to pitch them. The funny thing about it is people love to buy, but they hate to be sold. So if it feels like you are too over-aggressive in sharing what you have, which is interesting. It's your natural reaction because you're excited about it, right? You're excited. You want to share this. You want to, tell the people that you know, and you want to change their life, and you know how beneficial it can be for them. But the funny thing is when you get that excitement, and it's too much excitement from you to them, for them, then it sends a red flag up for them. So what you need to do is just curb that excitement. Keep it inside you. Don't let it go, right? But then you want to turn it into curiosity, and you want them to be qualifying for your time. So if you can always turn it towards them qualifying for your time, and the way that you do that is just simply asking questions, right? If somebody says, send me some information, start asking questions. Okay, perfect. I'd love to tell me about what has you curious about real estate. Tell me what is intriguing you. Why do you think now is the time to invest in real estate? Whatever it is, whichever topic. If somebody sees one of your posts about taxes, right? Follow up with taxes. Tell me a little bit about your tax situation. Have you done the math on what percentage you're paying in taxes right now? What kind of write-offs are you currently using, right? Start making them think, making them talk, getting them to qualify. And then you can simply say, yeah, sounds like this might be a good fit for you. It sounds like, you may be a good addition to our team. It sounds like we should meet, doesn't it? What do you have going on this Thursday night? What do you have going on this Tuesday? Whatever it is, but however you're inviting them, lead with having them qualify for your time first. So that's what I wanted to lead with today, folks. That's kind of the message that I had for you. I want to open it up. I know that I haven't been doing this as much, but I want to open it up for questions, comments, anything else that you guys would like to cover today, any questions that you might have from the regional training of anything that I talked about. The floor is yours. Feel free. Come on out. How can I assist you in your business today?
I have a question.
Yes, come on out.
Tell me, what has been the most difficult thing in the business that you have had?
Overcoming my own limiting beliefs by far is the most challenging thing, not only for myself, but probably the most challenging thing I've seen anybody deal with. Is, we're coming from conditioned beliefs and conditioned ways of being, and we're stepping into this new light, we're stepping into this new business, we're stepping into this new way of operating our life, and it's not easy. And we never promise that it's easy. It's simple, right? The ways to change and overcome and to become something new is very simple, but it is by all means not easy. So the biggest thing for me, I had a very poor self-esteem, self-belief. I didn't think much of myself before this business. And, that has been and continues to be, one of the biggest challenges that I ever deal with is my own self-limiting beliefs.
Okay. How do you overcome them?
I continue to study personal development. So one book that I'm on right now in the Audible that I would recommend for everybody, and it's very scientific in its approach. It's actually by a mentor of mine that I met, let's see, what was it, 8 years ago or so. His name is Dr. Joe Dispenza. I've actually met Dr. Joe Dispenza twice. He's an amazing, incredible man, and what he's overcome, he's world famous for for his studies of the mind and how to utilize the mind and quantum physics and all of those things. So he's got one of his newest books right now is called Breaking the Habit of Being You, and that right there is it's amazing. I've read his first book, which is super thick, and it is, it is so scientific that it's tough to get through. And this book is powerful in its delivery to where it's much easier to digest and comprehend. There is not going to be one book that changes your life, though, or that helps you overcome. It's going to be a constant focus on improvement. And so that's what I do every single day. I'm continuing to develop myself and become better.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Christian, thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. This is Dan.
Yeah, no problem, Dan. All right, on the chat here, I've got Yuri, and she says, what is the most challenging question you have received in those initial conversations, and how do you overcome it? I don't know. I don't know that there's necessarily a challenging question from those initial conversations, because I'm not attached to the outcome. I'm not attached to what they're how I'm going to answer it. It's interesting because every once in a while I get those questions that everybody in the beginning dreads, and I'm just so matter of fact that it doesn't really affect me. So, for example, I recently had a lead out in Seattle that I was working with, and I had invited him down to the presentation. He was planning on coming, and then we were having a conversation, and he said, "This isn't one of those things where I'm going to be talked to about, buying into something, is it?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "Well, this isn't one of those things where I'm going to come down and then there's going to be some type of a program to buy or a fee in order to work with the group." And I said, "Absolutely, of course. This is a business. I'm not running a nonprofit here. Yeah, you're gonna see what it costs to be involved with the group." And he says something to sort of, "Well, I don't know that I'm ready to put money into something right now in order to get started." And I said to him, I said, "Come on now, don't let yourself don't limit yourself in that way right now. If you're thinking about doing real estate investing and you're not even willing to do proper due diligence, I suggest you stay out of the market." And it was funny because I had a complete change of tone, just because I was so matter of fact and of course you're going to spend money. Of course there is a buy-in. Of course there's education. You need education. You obviously, right, need some additional knowledge to get to where you're wanting to go. So, Yuri, you'll find that any question that you feel is challenging is usually only challenging because of our own concerns or our own made-up scenarios of what people are going to think. When you don't care what people think because you understand that you have the best income opportunity on the planet and that everybody needs Renatus and that you're doing them a favor by even inviting them, and that if it's their loss if they say no, when you have those 4 core beliefs down, you're not going to have any challenging questions. Because if they start asking questions, you're simply going to point them towards the meeting. If they start saying, "Well, how does it work?" You say, "That's a great question. Why don't you come down on Thursday?" Right? If they say, "How much does it cost?" You say, "You're going to learn about that on Thursday," right? I had, in fact, one of my guests from this last Thursday who came down, his wife had called me and, we kind of did "I'll come see your program if you'll come see mine because I believe mine is the best." And so I went to theirs, and there I met her husband, and he started asking the question of, "Well, how much does it cost?" I said, "You're going to find out on Thursday." And he was totally cool with it, right? He's like, "Oh, you're playing coy, huh?" I was like, "Well, that's what it's designed for. That's what the Thursday is designed for." He said, "Okay, I'll see you there." Now, if I would have started beating around the bush, or I would have, felt unconfident, or if I would have said it's $20,000, they might not have shown up, right? But I just simply said, "You'll find out on Thursday. I'll see you there." So hopefully that helps, Yuri. And hopefully that helps the others on the line. Let me give one more chance, one more question. Is there anybody else on the line that has something they'd like me to cover today? All right. Well, remember this advice, folks. Don't be too eager. When somebody shows interest, remember that you still need to get them to qualify for your time. Because if they show interest and you all of a sudden start selling them on why what we have is the greatest thing in the world, right? Even though I need you to have that core belief, if you start selling them too early, if you start, sharing all the excitement too early, you're going to freak them out, right? So just know it's in their best interest for you to ask them questions to make them qualify for your time. I hope this helps, folks. It's Think Rich Thursday. Go out there, think rich, do rich, be rich.